Hi, my name is Christy Casey, and today we're going to talk about vital signs and knowing what's normal for your horse. Today I have my handler Hannah and Dolly, and we're going to demonstrate what's normal for the horse for vital signs, and other ways to tell if your horse is healthy is their bloom of coat, the brightness in their eyes, and just normal habits that they have, whether they're laying down at inappropriate times. That'd be a sign that you need to take further vital signs. It's important to know how to take vital signs because if something's wrong with your horse and you need to call the vet, most times vets on the phone will ask what the vital signs are, and then that lets them know how important it is and how quickly they need to come. We'll start off by the normal vital signs of the horse. Throughout this demonstration, for safety purposes, I'm going to ask that my handler stay on the same side as me. This gives a horse a way out if they were to become spooked or uncomfortable with what we're doing. We're first going to check the mucous membranes of the horse. These can be found in the conjunctiva of the eye, the gums, or in mares around the vagina. It's easiest to check where the gums, and what we're looking for is we want pink and moist gums, and the wetness of the gums would be a sign of hydration, and if they're tacky or dry, that means that they're dehydrated. We're looking for them to be pink in color, and other colors could indicate different problems in the horse. Blue could be a sign of lack of oxygen, red would be a sign of fever, white could be a sign of shock, and yellow could be signs of liver problems in the horse. To check this, we're going to come up to the horse and lift up her gums. And right now she has a light pink in color and they feel pretty moist. So she would be, I would consider her hydrated with her mucous membranes. While we're here, we'll check the capillary refill. This is easiest checked in the gums as well. And what we're looking for is whenever I press down on the gums and release, we want the color to go from white back to the original pink color. This tests for the blood flow in the horse. So again, we'll come up, lift up the gum, press down, 1, 2, and we want that to return to the pink color. And she also returned within 2 seconds, so she's also healthy in that area as well. Another way to check your horse's hydration is a skin pinch, and this is done on their neck or shoulder area. And what we're looking for is when I pinch the skin up and make a tent out of it and release, I want that skin to go back to flat within 1 to 2 seconds. And if it doesn't, then the circulation of the horse wouldn't be as good due to lack of hydration. So to do this, I'm just going to pinch up the skin. 1, 2, and that went down very quickly, so she's very hydrated. Horses who are older will have less pliability, less elasticity in their skin, and they would stand up for a little bit even if they were hydrated. So it's something to keep in mind whenever you're testing the hydration of your horse. Our next vital sign that we're going to take is the horse's pulse. This is a reflection of the horse's heartbeat and can be found in either the external maxillary artery behind the jawbone, or the radial behind the knee, or the digital, and we'll take that later. So I'm going to take it underneath the jawbone. This is the easiest place to find it, where most people can find it. I'm going to look for the rope-like structure and press on it, and when I feel the pulse, I'm going to count how many pulses there are in 15 seconds and multiply that by 4. Alright, so within that 15 seconds I counted 8 beats, and this is in the normal range. That's 32 beats per minute, and the normal range is 32 to 44. So elevations of this could be if a horse was stressed or outside in an environment and they were looking around or higher energy, or if they're just getting done from being ridden and their pulse rate would be higher. Our next pulse would be, you can also take it the radial behind the knee, but this is harder for some people, and it's the same as the external maxillary artery. We're going to look for a digital pulse, which is behind the fetlock area, and horses should not normally have a strong digital pulse if their foot is healthy, but if there are any issues in the foot, they'll have a bounding digital pulse. And some horses, even if they're healthy, you can sometimes feel a slight pulse. So I'm going to check to see if I can feel a pulse. And this mare doesn't have a strong pulse, so we'll just use the maxillary artery pulse as our knowing if she's healthy or not. Our next vital sign that we're going to check is the heart rate. And this will show also what the pulse is, because it's just how many times the heart is pumping. We're going to use our stethoscope and the watch again, and we'll look for the heart rate in this heart girth area right behind the elbow. And just like the pulse, I will listen for how many beats I hear in 15 seconds and multiply that by 4. So within that 15 seconds, I counted 8 beats and then multiplied by 4 would be 32. So that is in the middle range of 32 to 44 beats per minute for the heart rate, so she's healthy. Another vital sign to check is their horse's gut sounds. If a horse seems colicky or on a daily basis, you can check your horse's gut sounds to see how their digestive tract is going. We're going to check on both sides, the top quadrant and the bottom quadrant, and so I'm just going to listen and listen. I want to hear constant gurgling, and I don't want to hear anything hypermodal, which would be like really loud rushing sounds, or quiet, which would be no sounds whatsoever. So I'm going to check, and I want to keep my hand on the horse just so that I know what she's doing, and I'm just going to listen on the top and bottom quadrants. Alright, and both of these I can hear constant gurgling, so that's good for this side. We'll now check the other side of the horse, the same thing that we did on the first side. Alright, and just like on the other side, these two quadrants are running normally. We'll now check the temperature of the horse, and to do this, you can either use digital thermometers, which can sometimes be a little inaccurate, and you can also use mercury thermometers, which take a little bit more time, but they're more accurate. We'll start off using the digital thermometer, and what we'll look for is for the temperature to be between 99.5 and 101.5, and differences in the weather can make this higher, or if they just got done being worked. But you always want their resting normal temperature to be between that range of 99.5 and 101.5. So we'll start off, and we'll take our digital thermometer, and we'll lubricate the thermometer with petroleum jelly. Alright, and I'll just turn it on, insert it into the rectum, and instead of just going straight in, I'm going to kind of press it up against the wall just to get a more accurate temperature as possible. So I'm going to come up to the horse and gently lift up her tail and stick it in and press it up against the wall. Alright, and when it's done, it'll start beeping like it is now. And it's showing 99.2, which is a little low, but again, sometimes these digital thermometers won't be as accurate as the other ones. We'll wipe it off with the rag. And now we'll check it using the mercury thermometer. And this takes a little bit longer. We'll leave it in for 2 minutes at least. And because of that, instead of holding it there for 2 minutes, you can clip it to their tail so that you don't lose the thermometer. So the same thing with the petroleum jelly. Just lubricate it. And I want to make sure that the temperature itself is below 90 degrees so it's an accurate reading, or even below 80 or 50. So you can shake it down or run it under cold water. Okay, so I'll check it first, and it is below that, so it's safe to check it now. So same thing, we'll come and gently lift up the tail. Alright, and once it's in, we'll clip it to the tail, and this will keep it from getting sucked in. And while we're waiting 2 minutes for this, we'll check the respiration rate. While we're waiting for our mercury thermometer to read her temperature, we're going to check the respiration rate. This can be checked in the loin area or the nostrils, but it's more accurate to check in the loin area because if we're outside, she could be smelling something. And so we're going to watch for 15 seconds and count how many breaths per minute she takes, and then we'll multiply the 15-second number by 4. I'm going to have my handler time me since I'll be watching her flank during this time.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go. Time.
Okay, so within that 15 seconds, I counted 2 breaths. Multiplied by 4 is 8, which is in the low range, 8 to 20, which is perfectly fine because she's out here, she's relaxed. And if a horse is lower than that or higher than that, that's abnormal, and exercise could be a factor, or stress, and that would be abnormal if it wasn't in that 8 to 20 range. Now that we've waited at least 2 minutes for the thermometer to read her temperature, we'll take it out and see what it says. So I'm going to unclip it and gently pull it out and read it as fast as I can before it changes. Okay, so her temperature reads 99.5, and that's in the range. It's lower because it's a little bit chilly outside, and so it read pretty close to the other thermometer in the 99 point range, so that'll be normal.